list of names. Is this it?
No.
Okay.
What is it?
It's not on top of those.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it got mixed up. No. Oh, there it is.
Okay. This is your first Q&A time writing at 160 words per minute.
140.
Excuse me. This is your first Q&A time writing at 140 words per minute. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Your proper names are Mark A. Tuft, Mr. Tuft, A&P Construction, Division of Labor, Mr. Bog, and A&P. Ready? Please state your full name.
Mark A. Tuft.
That's T-U-F-T.
T-U-F-T.
Mr. Tuft, who was your employer back in May of 1995?
A&P Construction.
Have you ever had your deposition taken before?
No.
Do you understand that you are giving sworn testimony here today?
Yes.
And that a transcript of your testimony will be prepared and submitted to the Division of Labor as evidence in this workman's compensation case?
Yes.
And again, you understand that you are under oath to tell the truth.
Yes.
If at any time during the deposition you don't understand a question that I ask, please say so it can be rephrased, all right?
Okay.
The only other rule I'll mention at this time is please wait until we are done talking before you start talking so the court reporter can get it all down. I'll also note for the record at this time that these depositions today are being taken for preservation of evidence. The original transcript will be filed with the Division of Labor as evidence in this case. Mr. Tuft, what was your job title at A&P in May of 1995?
Labor foreman.
Did you supervise the claimant, Mr. Bog?
Yes.
Were you his direct supervisor?
Yes.
Who hired Mr. Bog?
I did.
What position was he working at that time?
Laborer.
Were you working on May 13 of 1995?
Yes.
Was Mr. Bog working on May 13 of 1995?
Yes.
Where were you working?
At a new building.
What was he doing on the site that day?
Construction cleanup.
What were you doing on the site?
Construction cleanup.
Were you on the site all day?
Yes. If I had left any part of the day, it would have been only briefly.
To do what?
If I had to rent a piece of equipment or take a piece of equipment back to a rental.
When you say briefly, for how long of a period of time might you be off the premises?
No more than an hour.
Is the construction site one building?
Yes, it is one building.
Everyone that was working in the building that day was actually in the building. Is that correct?
In the building or not more than 20 yards from it.
When you were foreman at A&P, did they have a policy about reporting workmen's compensation injuries to A&P?
Yes.
What was that policy?
Their policy everybody uses is that if you hurt yourself, no matter how minor, you tell your direct supervisor.
When you say any supervisor, are you talking about employees of A&P?
Right.
How was that policy communicated to the employees of A&P?
A&P had safety meetings, and they stressed that point pretty clearly.
Were those mandatory meetings that all employees had to attend?
Right.
With respect to those meetings, what was the policy about attending them?
Mandatory for every employee of A&P on the job site.
Now, I want to turn your attention to May 13 of 1995. Did you receive a report of an injury at work that day?
No.
Did you have the opportunity to observe Mr. Bog working on the site that day?
Yes.
Describe what opportunity you had to observe him.
I saw him at least by the hour, if not more often. I had to direct the work where they should be working and make sure they were getting some work done.
At any time when you observed him, did he appear to be having any type of physical problem?
No,
Did he or anyone else indicate to you that Mr. Bogg was having any physical problems that day?
no,
Were you a witness to any injury by anyone that day?
no,
Did you witness Mr. Bogg sustaining any type of injury?
no,
Did you eventually, at some time down the road, become aware that Mr. Bogg was claiming that he had hurt himself on May 13 of 1995?
I do believe it was the following Wednesday when I became aware of that fact.
This is your second Q&A time writing at 140 words per minute. The only proper name is Mr. Bogg. Ready? After you became aware of that, did you do any investigation with respect to witnesses?
I asked at least a half dozen people, including one man who was working with him that day, if they had seen any injury. I asked people from at least 2 contractors that were on the job.
Did you discover anyone who claimed to be a witness?
No,
Did Mr. Bogg come in for work on the next day, May 14?
yes, he came in for work.
Did you see him that day?
Yes, I saw him just as we were getting to work at 7 a.m.
Did you see any physical problem?
He was limping.
At that time, did he come to you and make any statement about an injury?
No,
Did he come to you and make any type of request?
no,
Did he make a request for medical treatment?
no,
Did he ask for time off?
no,
Did he work all day?
yes, all that day.
Did he continue to work after that day?
We worked all day Friday. I think we put in at least 8 hours Saturday and 6-7 hours on Sunday.
Up to the time through Sunday, did he report to you that he had injured himself at work?
No,
Did he ask to see a physician?
no,
Did he ask for any time off?
no.
Describe to me then what happened with respect to his employment.
Well, he was limping and kind of whining, I knew his knee was hurting him. I don't know how bad it was hurting him. I told him to stay home the next day.
Did he do that?
Yes.
Did he return to work after that?
See, I'm having a problem remembering now if I told him to stay home Monday or he came in Monday and I told him to stay home. But when I did tell him to stay home, he was. Must have been Sunday because he was gone for a couple days before he showed back up.
How did come back to work though?
He came back. Wednesday he showed up. There was a bunch of stuff that had, in the meantime, while he was home, I heard that he caused some damage in the building that Sunday. He had a little temper tantrum because I asked him to work on the weekend because we were getting ready for carpet. He had thrown a bunch of tin into a room and damaged 2 vinyl walls. So at that time, I decided I couldn't have him back in the building. I couldn't have anybody in the building that was going to damage work that was already done.
So what did you do?
I decided to let him go, and I asked my supervisor for a layoff check.
Essentially, did you fire him or what?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead and tell me what his status was when you were done with him.
He was fired.
Prior to being fired, did he report any injury at work to you?
No,
Did he ask to see any physician prior to being fired?
no,
Did he ask for any time off because of his leg or any additional time off because of any leg problem?
no,
At any point after you fired him, Did he state to you that he had a work-related injury?
No.
He never reported any work-related injury to you?
No.
Did you ever tell Mr. Bogg to go to a doctor, a specific doctor?
Yes, I did.
At the time you told him to go to a doctor, had he indicated to you in any way that he had hurt himself at work?
Yes.
He did?
Yes, at that time.
Was this before or after he was fired?
I think it was before, yes.
This is about when?
About a week later.
A week after the day he says he hurt it?
Just about that.
A week after the day he said he hurt himself?
Yes.
So you are just now recalling that?
Yes.
Okay, so what did he tell you about how and when he was injured?
Well, now I don't.
Stop the video.